This week on the Spike and Jones podcast.
You know, when you don't spend, and this may be the exact same intro we gave you last time. When you miss somebody, you don't spend time with them, you tend to have to cover 1,000,001 things in an hour. We got to 999,999 of them.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Spike and Jones.
So you can't fix stupid.
I'm almost done.
So Spike has his mouth full like he always does.
Uh-huh.
So are you on 3010?
Not the minute.
But
I gotta get back.
I still heard those ads all the time.
I'm starting a whole nother year. I got to get back in.
So because magically 2018 is coming upon us, somehow that means now's the time. I guess I don't understand. You know, like to me, the new year starts today. Uh-huh. It always starts the next day.
Right.
Like I don't wait and go, well, you know, in 2018, that's when I'll start.
No, I'm not going to. I was going to start today, but I'm here with you. I got to get over there and pick up a whole bunch of product and get myself back.
So I'm your excuse.
No, today you are.
So wait a minute. So they, like Jenny Craig, they have their own diet plan, and you buy their food.
Well, their food's included in the price of doing their program.
Okay. See, I thought it was strictly a training you how to eat better.
It is also that.
It's
meal replacement and psychological reprogramming.
Wow. So it worked incredibly well.
Well, I know. Well, it's been a tough year, as all things.
That's a pneumonia wheeze.
You sound like fucking. What was that dog's name? Muttley.
Yeah.
Is there a trash can in the corner?
There is. Let's see if you can hit it.
Left-handed.
Wow.
Blind and left-handed.
Mookie Blaylock action there.
That was that.
So my mom says we need to stop using the F word so much.
Okay. Well, so your mom, I'll do that.
You know, it's interesting. She's been a huge proponent, of course, because she's my mom, of our show. And that is fabulous. But that also means that
she has to endear more profanity than she deserves to hear.
She actually disclaims us every time she tells people about us. She says, like, their show is really, really topical, really powerful.
Disgusting.
Great to listen to, but they use a lot of F words. And what was interesting is recently, so I'll say hi, Aunt Betty, because apparently my aunt also listens to the show now.
So I'm offending all the matriarchal women of your family.
Yes,
great.
Absolutely. Yes.
Super.
And Mom was talking about, talking to her the other day, saying, you know, you should really listen. She goes, well, I already do, which I thought was really cool. And so apparently my aunt, who is like my father, is not a prude in any sense of the word, but certainly doesn't like certain things, and curse words are not, you know, big.
No, I can respect that.
You know, in most families, and certainly not in mine. Right? Very
sure. Well, a cavalier attitude toward profanity is not.
It devalues.
It's not. It does. It's not something I was raised with. Mm-hmm. It is something that I am, although being raised in a bar, it wasn't at home, but it was in my world. Mm-hmm. I would never cuss in front of my mom. The only time I ever dropped an F-bomb in front of my mom, my dad literally punched me.
Yeah.
He dropped me and knocked me over a couch.
Yeah.
That
is awesome.
That was the one and only time I ever dropped an F-bomb in front of my mom. I didn't say it to my mom.
Yeah.
I didn't use it in conversation or argument with my mom. I was yelling at my brother and walking through a room, yelling back at my brother, who I was having one of our 1,001 arguments with, because we were 13 months apart. You know, we were at each other's throat. We were best friends and worst enemies.
Irish twins, is that what you call it?
Yes, Irish twins. I was walking out of a room yelling back at him as my mom was walking in the front door. And my mom just watched me drop the nastiest, you know,
right.
And my old man just set me flying.
Right from behind.
Mm-hmm. Set me flying. After I stood up and righted the couch, righted my jaw, and said, I apologize, I'm very sorry, that won't happen again.
You know, that word, that world doesn't exist anymore. Except in people who go to jail. In other words, like nobody
discipline for a kid.
Well, say you're four or under. You know, a swat on the tail might really get you some actually proactivity out. But past that, it's pretty much just your parent being pissed off at you and laying into you because hey kid, wait, push. And, and that's abuse.
And you'll see a whole segment of society bemoan the loss of respect and the loss of propriety, and they'll blame that for a lack of discipline and a coddling political correctness.
Right, but
in
you're
our
proof
world.
of that.
I'm not.
No, what I mean by that is you experienced that growing up. It didn't turn you an abusive asshole.
No.
You're actually
watch your language, ladies. Are listening.
It actually turned you into. I shouldn't say it turned you into it, but you became who you are.
Yeah, that experience turned me into who I am. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, do you think who you are is a knee-jerk reaction to traditional, conservative, not so much values, but conservative action, right? Which is typically corporal punishment, religion. Because not that you're anti those things, but you're not. Pro them.
I'm not carrying the flag.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I could say that's true. All those things bear out to be true with me. I was listening to an interview last night with Spike Lee, and he was talking about being raised, in Brooklyn, and a Southern family that had migrated north, father from Alabama, mother from Mississippi, and summers down in the South. In the summertime, he was the oldest of his siblings. And in the summertime, the kids would get shipped out to either mom's side or dad's side in the South so that mom and dad could have a damn break. That's what all parents do when we were growing up. And he talked about, getting the switch in the South. Going out and picking a switch off of a willow tree.
Yeah, you go pick your switch, kid.
Right.
Yeah.
And he talked about the old. And she's like, it was Terry Gross on Fresh Air.
Oh, NPR.
Yeah, and because I'm a bleeding heart liberal, I listen to NPR. She's like, well, do you discipline your kids? He's, I don't want to go to jail. And to your point,
right?
These days, it's a different world, as it should be. As it should be.
Yeah.
Because, my old man was a disciplinarian. He wasn't an abuser. There were days I couldn't sit down after a good whooping.
Right.
And I never got one I didn't deserve. I didn't get one because my dad had a tough day at work. I didn't get one because my dad came home drunk. That's abuse. I don't see corporal punishment as abuse.
Yeah.
Unless it goes too far. And it's abusive.
And what's that dividing line, though?
When a lesson has been taught and you stop, you've stopped. When a lesson has been taught and you go on because you're enraged,
right?
That's abuse.
But doesn't this go back to our conversation from about a year ago when you were talking about the fact that, raising two daughters, that's never really been a factor in your relationship? Because to me, it's more about, okay, this is something you do with boys.
I fully agree with that. I could count on my middle fingers the number of times I've swatted my girls.
Really?
Both of them collectively.
Right.
Yeah. That's, it just it doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
I'm going to raise my hand to them.
Yeah, I don't recall ever actually swatting my daughter either. My boys, a couple times.
Boys are boys.
Yeah.
Girls are smarter. Girls learn faster.
Yeah.
Boys have to have it beaten into them. And I make a joke. Please don't hate. But a lot of that bears out to be true.
Yeah. But see, we're in a world where you can't get away with anything. I mean, I'm not saying get away, like we shouldn't necessarily be able to get away with quotes around it. But I think about, we live currently 2 blocks from my daughter's school, and the teachers have told us we need to pick up our children, that she can't walk home by herself. Wow. And I think that's absurd. And of course, here's the thing. I love my wife, as you know, but my wife definitely buys into that strategy, which is we need to take her to school. We need to walk home with her every day. And I'm like, you're freaking high. I did that in 1974 by myself. And granted, I did too. I didn't live in a town of 500,000 people.
I live in Baltimore and did it. I took 3 city buses in the 5th grade across town.
I walked uphill in the snow.
Both ways. Yeah, I know. I saw the video. You looked so troubled. I used to take 3 city buses to school. We were talking about my daughter a couple weeks ago about whether or not she would take the school bus, because there's a bus that runs from Byron through our neighborhood off to the high school next year when she starts high school. And it was like, well, did you take a bus to school? there was a point I took a school bus, sure, but our family moved when I was in the fourth grade. We left my neighborhood and moved to a different neighborhood, and I wanted to go to my old school. After a year at my new school, which I hated, and the principal didn't like me, and we just didn't get along. And my old man went for a conference one day and looked at the principal and was like, "This guy's an absolute asshole. I can see why you don't get along with him, why he doesn't like you.
Right.
This guy's off his rocker. And if you want to go back to your old school and finish 5th grade and then go 6th grade in your elementary school that you know all your friends, that's cool." But I had to take 3 city buses. I caught a 19 to a 22 to a 5. I spent an hour and a half every morning.
Remember the numbers?
You know, I spent an hour and a half every morning getting to school. You know?
Yeah.
But that's a different world.
Yeah, but it doesn't
is.
have to be.
No, it does have to be, and I'll tell you why. Okay. And this is just me, getting on my horse. But we have become so, I don't want to say coddled because that's not the right word I'm looking for. Catered to in our deviance as a society.
Sure.
You want to watch snuff films? There's a channel for that.
Yeah.
So the old argument, does porn make sick people sicker? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it does. You're feeding a beast.
Absolutely.
And we've had this conversation before, too. I think we're both in agreement. Yeah. So there's a more dangerous world than it was when you and I were growing up.
Sure. Well, access.
Access has created more dangerous people.
Right.
So thus, it's a more dangerous world.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly believe
disagree
that.
with you.
So I don't think you can let a kid walk to school 4 blocks alone anymore. It's a terrible thing to say. But I think it's genuinely true. The thought of doing unspeakable things used to be unthinkable. Now it's not.
Yeah.
There's too many instances where it happens. And maybe we're just getting more coverage of it. Maybe there always was sick people doing sick things, and maybe we never heard about it because it wasn't in our local paper. It didn't make our local news.
Yeah.
Didn't make Walter Cronkite. Now there's 57 channels of news. So all the sickos are getting the limelight. Well, maybe that's the case.
And everything's an echo chamber too. I mean, for the most part, it is. Man.
No. I fully agree. I fully agree with that. Of course it is. People. It's self-serving. People want to hear what they want to hear.
Yeah,
they can tune into an only bubblistic, self-serving, hear what you want to hear world.
Yeah, I mean.
That's why our democracy is falling.
Right. I mean, we talk about cookies, right? I mean, if anybody knows about, programming basics on the computer, cookies are what websites use to track your usage, etc. And Google's the Google. Companies like Google know, in a sense, how to program certain web pages for you to give you what you want to see.
Right.
And
click
therefore
on an
the echo
anti-Trump
chamber,
ad, all you're going to get is anti-Trump.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will say, well, Google's very left-leaning, so that's not necessarily true. And that might be the case. However, they're still going to go, because of the monetary issues, towards what you like, right? So your argument, you're hearing it back.
Right.
And it's an unfair world. There is no, what's the word? It's not about moderacy, but when you think about somebody like Walter Cronkite, here's the thing. I don't really know if he gave me an unbiased version. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he gave me Walter Cronkite's sort of version of unbiased.
Right.
But it felt like, and we were always told that news was unbiased. It certainly was when we were kids, Yeah. And it's certainly not now.
Well, because it's not news anymore.
Right.
It's not news unless you're getting network news at 6 o'clock.
And that's 3 hours behind.
Right. And that might be the closest thing to unbiased. And but there are people who have been told that everything they say is a lie so often. That now, I mean, I had somebody who's, so I can trust ABC, NBC, or CBS. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's insanity.
Are you kidding me? Yeah. Now you're being told, we should trust the CIA and the FBI. Are you kidding me? Now,
I don't trust anyone.
I hate to go down this rabbit hole, but today's argument is Russia good, FBI bad. Really?
Yeah.
That's what this administration, that's you're selling? That's what we're all supposed to? Really?
Yeah.
I know, right? I'm maybe the ones that are still screeching on Facebook to support this horrific embarrassment of an administration. Maybe there's so few left that they have to scream loudest, but I still see way too many of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me get this straight. I can't trust the judicial branch. I can't trust the FBI. I can't trust the CIA. I can't trust the media. But I'm supposed all because I can trust him. Yeah. Do you think maybe that Occam's razor would tell you that this guy's full of shit and the rest of them are always trying to tell you the truth?
Well, you'd think.
You would hope.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to be the way.
But now, they're going to bring down the FBI. We have to disband the whole FBI. Are you kidding?
Right.
Trump goes to speak at an FBI graduation ceremony. On the way, he drives a bus over the FBI director that they can't be trusted. Mm-hmm. That the whole thing is in the bag. That career Republicans are in the bag for Hillary Clinton. Really?
Yeah.
Because all this so that we can believe him when he says he didn't, interact with not even the word collusion.
Right.
Because that's not a crime now. True, according to them.
Right.
So there's no crime that says collusion.
Right. Conspiracy
to defraud the U.S. government, that is a crime.
Right. Well, Comey's, and of course, what was it yesterday that somebody released documents of Comey's statement about Clinton?
That was the verbiage was changed. Yeah,
right, significantly.
And the guy who was texting back and forth with his girlfriend is the guy who changed the dialogue or the vernacular in that statement.
Right. From questionable to from grossly negligent to questionable.
Right. To lessen the severity of the report,
the charge, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And that means the whole FBI, the whole thing needs to come down. The whole investigation should be stopped.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
really?
I mean, it goes back to Occam's razor.
It really does. I mean, exactly.
It really does.
So everybody in the world is lying about this guy.
Yeah.
But this career con man, adulterer, is the guy we're supposed to put our faith in. You name it, whether it's personal, business, anything. This guy's been full of shit his entire run.
It's not about money either. What's interesting is he literally is the silver spoon kid.
Oh, he is the picture of trust fund baby.
Right. Doesn't really know much about anything, but has been in a position of power and people kowtowing to him
and bought his way out of every piece of trouble. He's gotten trouble in everything he's ever done and bought his way out of it.
Yeah, it's an extraordinary thing, and you would think people would see that. And I guess it goes back to that whole, well, your guys screwed us, so we're going to screw you now philosophy, which I think is absurd. I mean, I have a...
If Biden was president and Obama wasn't, would we be stomaching this? Will we be willing to put up with this? And I hate to put it to race.
No,
but you have to ask. I mean, I'm not saying everybody who was anti-Obama is racist.
No, I get it. But a lot were.
But there is of course. There's a layer to your maybe you're not conscious of.
Yeah.
There's a layer to your resentment of Obama. Your ability to believe that he was anti-American.
Yeah.
That may be based in race.
Yeah.
If Biden was the president and did everything if Obama was white, he'd be on Mount Rushmore. I mean, if you look at the economic recession we were going into in 2008, right? The depths of the stock market being at $6,000 and losing 750,000 jobs a month,
right?
As the Bush administration came to an end, if somebody came in and saved the auto industry, retooled the banking industry, put in consumer protection, tried to put in comprehensive health care reform, had 74 months of straight economic growth without any government jobs, reduced the size of government, he'd be on Mount Rushmore if he was white.
Yeah,
I mean, dude,
I'm not disagreeing.
I know, but
there's a but there.
Okay,
and here's the but, and it's not so much is it the word caveat? I guess it's not so much the but as it is. There isn't one president that wouldn't have gone into that position where, again, it's like jumping in the stock market when it's cheap. Mm-hmm. When the market's down like that, anybody's going to come back in and the market is going to rebound.
Right.
See, here's the reality. The market doesn't need president or reform or what occurred for it to recover.
Mm-hmm. No, it would. It's cyclical. It would have.
It would have recovered.
And anybody in that office would have done the necessary steps to do.
So you can't really give him credit for it. However, you can give the administration credit for a significant portion of the growth because not all of it comes from that, right?
You made decisions to do things that were the right things to do, as opposed to a decision being made today to cut the tax rate on the top earners to make America great again.
Hey, this works out great for me.
Me too. I'm getting a tax cut, but I also understand that an economy isn't driven from the top down.
I know.
It's driven from the middle out.
Hey guys, just so you know, I'm going to trickle down all my wealth to you. Just so you know, I'm going to.
It's not raining. That's me trickling down on you. Okay. Because history doesn't repeat itself. God forbid.
No, never.
This is going to be even better than Reagan's economy. Are you kidding me?
Oh,
I'm just mystified.
Yeah.
That they're willing to hold their nose and do this from this guy. And it's probably not even going to go through.
Yeah.
By the time this airs, we may know differently, but they've cut themselves such a razor thin margin of error.
Yeah.
Everybody's got them over a barrel.
I'm still trying to figure out, were those, there were a couple of notes for reform in there, specifically about abortion, a few other things that I had seen that were injected.
Right.
Now, is that true that those things were actually injected into because that doesn't make any sense.
Into a tax bill. So that life begins at conception, those... Is that what you're talking about?
I'm just talking about that doesn't. I get how people try to sneak things. I get that because people don't read documents.
Well, especially when you're not allowed to read them.
Right.
When you're rushing a vote through.
But it seems to me that's so absurd. I can't imagine that it's true. That does feel like fake news to me. And yet, if it's true, because I have no way to prove it's not.
Well, you know why it's true, and it is true.
Okay.
Because people who you need their vote. To everybody's got him over a barrel. My comment a moment ago. You want the ultra conservative senator from wherever state to vote for your tax bill?
Yeah.
Then you give him life begins at conception. You let him put that in the bill. Yeah. That's how crap like this gets in.
But how? I just don't understand how.
How can you hang that on a tax?
Something can be hidden inside a tax bill.
It's because they're 1,000 pages of amendments.
So.
And there's no floor debate. There's no hearings. There's not even a score.
We agree.
Right. We're going to have a vote right now. We're going to vote along party lines. And if the two of you flip over, we'll have the vice president come down and break the tie.
Mm-hmm.
And so far they've got nothing done. Even with that, controlling all three branches of government, they've got nothing done.
Well, just so you know, life does begin at conception. So fuck you guys.
No, that's and I fully appreciate your belief and your right to hold that belief and to dictate how you live your life by those guidelines.
Because you and I are freaking badass and cool.
But the minute that belief infringes upon my right to believe that life begins when a viable baby can live outside of the womb, that's my personal belief.
Yeah.
So for the senator, the great senator from the state of Mississippistan, or wherever.
Oh,
you've
just offended our 4 listeners, sir.
No, while I don't intend to offend, if you don't like what's in the mirror, find a window.
That's great.
Okay, because when you talk about the extreme religious theocracies of the Middle East,
right,
where religion dictates.
There's a reason
law.
We moved away from Europe, by the way, guys.
Right.
Yeah, the Anglican Church was oppressing.
You explain to me why a person in Alabamistan, I don't mean to offend Mississippi.
Right. Right.
Explain to me the difference between that religious perspective driving law as opposed to a theocracy in the Middle East.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. And it's funny because a lot of my, Christian friends, and as you know, I fail on a daily basis, but I very proudly proclaim myself to be a believer. And the thing is I agree with you 1,000%.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe what I believe. I absolutely believe it 100%. Nothing's going to sway it ever. I just know my humanity questions things all the time because I'm a human, right? I take faith.
Right.
But I still believe what I believe, right?
No, I feel you.
But the beautiful thing about it is, and I really feel, sometimes I almost feel an elitist about being a believer, that I feel like it doesn't matter what somebody disagrees with in regards to how I believe life was created, or that X occurred 3,000, 6,000, 40 million years ago, whatever. Okay, I'm not offended by somebody not believing what I believe. I find that absurd.
That's not an attack on your religious freedom for me to believe otherwise.
Absolutely.
I
mean,
know.
I'm with you. I have a, and this is right along with the lines of, well, all my friends are black sort of argument, right?
I'm not a racist.
Right.
I know black people.
Right.
Our attorneys, what was it? One of our lawyers is a Jew.
Exactly.
Did you see that clip? Oh my God.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute, though. Don't take me away from my point.
I'm sorry.
But I have a ton of friends here in the Northwest, as we all know, for the most part, as a West Coast state, is very liberal, and the Seattle is ultra liberal. I have a tremendous amount of friends that are gay. I have a tremendous amount of friends that are Muslim. I have a tremendous amount of friends that are atheists. I have a tremendous amount of friends that don't even kind of remotely think how I think.
Right.
And they're my friends.
Because you respect
them. And I
them.
love them.
And you love
respect
them. Sure.
them. And I want the very best for them. Now, would I like to, quote unquote, sway them to my side? Sure, I guess. But here's the thing.
Okay.
As a believer, I believe that is up to God.
Okay, not up to you. That's a great perspective, and I wish more people shared it.
Me too.
See, because now I can also see it. I want to get to this, and it's relevant to our thread here. I can see where people who believe, as you do, that life begins at conception, feel if they don't try to persuade others, if they don't step in for the unborn, then they are not fulfilling their commitment to their belief.
Yeah,
I could see
that. I wouldn't be standing firm saying, "But
right.
wait,
it's
that's
a betrayal.
not okay."
For me not to try to end all abortions is a betrayal of my faith.
But not go murder somebody because they did it.
I'm just saying, right. I can see that perspective. I can see where you would feel that would be a failure in your faith to not do everything you can.
Yeah.
But you know what? To that I say, tough shit.
Yeah.
And I apologize to your mom and aunt. To that I say, that's the price you pay for living in a plural society.
Yes.
Otherwise, then by all means, go back to wherever, whether it be Europe, or wherever, that you think that a theocracy is if that's how you want to live, great.
Yeah.
But that's not where we are.
If you're not Puritan enough for me, then
that's not where we are.
Super Puritan somewhere else,
the women who voted for Roy Moore boggle the mind.
Yeah.
They
believe it's Jesus that
he stands up for God. What about the false witness part of it all? Anybody is that part? That's a secondary belief you guys are holding.
I got to say this though. You got to say. I get to say. Well, yeah, but that's Moses' law. That's the law of Moses. That isn't the law of Christ.
The shall not bear false witness. The Ten Commandments.
The 10 Commandments
I saw the movie.
have been overridden by grace. See,
really?
So Christian perspective, and this is not religion that I'm getting at here, but literally, if you say like the Old Testament would be the Mosaic law, the New Testament is the Christian law. Okay, the whole idea is that Christ came to override the Mosaic law. He came over, so grace overrode law.
Okay.
So in other words, we all suck. None of us are good enough for law. So Christ has to come in and intervene for all of us because we suck. Okay.
It's like, do your best. Just do your best.
Yeah. So exactly.
No, I get it.
But that's so a guy like that can say, well, I'm a bit of a child molester, but just only a little bit.
Only with their parents' permission.
Exactly. And thank you, Jesus, for having the grace to love me despite my proclivities to embed myself inside a 14-year-old.
Right.
I mean, seriously.
It's funny that it's amazing that he lost that election because all indicators were that it was going to be a good day. The weather forecast was supposed to dip into the teens.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, sorry.
Did you make that up?
Yeah, sorry. It's terrible.
See, this is what pisses me off about you. You're too fast. You're too smart. I can't stay with you.
Of course,
I'm
yes,
such
you
a
can.
straight man.
No, you
like
are.
I'm the worst kind of Laurel.
No,
you're Hardy.
You're a worthy adversary, my friend.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I've worked with a lot of them, and you're there.
Okay,
you're there. Trust me,
but I'm not Craig Gass. You and Craig were on a whole nother level.
No, I
was over here just going.
I would beg to differ. I would beg to differ.
Really?
Yeah.
My ego.
Craig's deep, but not fast. I love Craig. Don't get me wrong. Craig hears this. I will. Craig is deep.
He's like.
He's world class.
He is amazing,
but not improv fast.
Huh? Really?
Yeah.
He's freaking brilliant. Though,
yeah.
Man.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's not.
Yeah.
He's a genius.
Did you see what he did with what's his name in New York? You know how he was on the Howard Stern show?
Yeah, with Artie.
Artie.
Yeah.
Artie, I guess, got really
again.
Again.
Yeah.
And
I mean, Artie's. They call that a dead cat bounce.
Yeah.
When you
He
hit the
wrote an
bottom.
open letter to him.
I
Did
saw.
you
I
see
read
that?
the letter.
Okay,
Yeah, I
that
read
was
the letter.
amazing.
It was. And
So,
Craig,
you're a good guy.
absolutely,
Wherever you
and
are.
a genius.
Yeah.
but not fast.
So okay.
Comedy callback.
So we got to jump into our deep six. So all that being said, then you got a idea for a deep six today?
I do. I want a deep six joy.
Joy, as in
As in what makes you joyful? What brings you satisfaction? Pride? What brings you joy? It's the holiday season, and you see it everywhere, and you see how it's of course been commercialized. And I don't want to be that guy bah humbugging it and crap, but I see what makes me happy around me, and maybe it's the lights and the tree that make me more aware
right.
of being joyful. These things that are bringing me joy that I'm noticing in the last couple of days, weeks, have always been there, but I'm appreciative and aware of the joy, the simple little things.
Right.
When my dog smiles at me, my dog smiles.
Huh.
We're going to the dog park in the morning, and I roll the window down, and the dog sticks his head out the window, and she's smiling.
Yeah.
And I look over like, man, lucked out.
Yeah.
Spent the last 30 years not having a pet. Spent the last 20 years telling my daughters no.
Yeah.
And we got a pet in January or April of this year.
Yeah.
And we've told everybody about her, and she's wonderful. But, I'm joyful that we have a pet in our house.
Yeah.
I'm joyful that my daughter is, my younger daughter, is compassionate, empathetic.
Yeah.
And it's I guess that's a long-term thing that we've raised her to be aware. I hope we've had some hand in her doing that.
Sure.
And it didn't just skip a generation, and she got it from the grandparents she never knew. But I watch my daughter deal with her friends and her and her acquaintances with compassion and empathy and generosity, and it brings me just joy, man, unbridled flipping joy. I know I'm putting a whiplash on you people, coming from the whole, oh my God, these circuses in town at Pennsylvania Avenue. But
and now you're talking about joy.
About joy. Well, that
Peace on earth, goodwill toward men.
Well, that's not just peace on earth and goodwill toward men. I guess it's more reflective.
Sure. Well, you have personal joy.
Completely, and I lucked out. This business that I'm in is declining, to say the least, volatile, to say the more accurate representation of the industry I'm in.
Right.
We just went through a major market shakeup here in Seattle. That's been coming down the tracks, talking about how do you stop a moving train. That's been coming down the tracks for 10 months. We've known about this impending major shakeup in the Seattle media market, and it's all come to a head for fruition.
What just drove by?
Yeah, something massive. The mole man
whole
is
building.
thinking, I am the underminer.
The underminer.
Remember that guy?
Yeah, that's great.
So this industry's gone through upheaval.
Sure.
And for a lot of my associates here, it didn't go well.
Yeah.
There were winners and losers in this, and I lucked out this time. I don't know if it's because of karma or hard work,
Sure.
which I doubt is the factor, personally, but or leverage,
Sure.
value to my employer. But it worked out well for me this time.
30,000 hours, baby.
And that wasn't the case the last time there was upheaval.
Yeah.
I got the fuzzy end of the lollipop last time.
Yeah.
This time, it went my way. Knock wood. We'll see how it plays out. But watching the people around me go through loss of career, loss of employment at Christmas time has been brutal. So maybe that's got a factor in why I'm looking around and going like, wow, I really am pretty blessed.
Yeah.
And I'm not a religious person.
Yeah.
I'm more spiritual than religious. That bullshit. Pardon me, Mom and Auntie.
And again, the other four listeners.
The other four listeners. So
That's our joke, by the way.
Yeah.
We have more than 4. We have at least 7.
at least we could field a good volleyball team with backups.
Yes.
We really could.
Yeah.
No, and maybe it is the holiday season that gets me just reflective of, what we have to be thankful for and all that. I don't mean to get all cornball on you, but
I don't think it's bad.
I take joy out of a well-written story, a well-told story. I take joy out of a well-made piece of music, I take joy out of the moon. I really am in a point where I'm glad that we've got to where we are. I'm optimistic about where we're going. Even as a society, I tell everybody that'll listen to me, and especially my daughter, that this isn't. My wife came to me stressed about this the other day, about politics, about what she sees going on, about are they really trying to pull this off?
Right.
This coup that they're at one side, both sides are accusing the other of a coup at the same time, which is hilarious.
Right.
Both of them are accusing the other side of a coup. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
My wife comes to me just all stressed out. And I'm like, you know what? This is a long-term plan, this country. It's built to weather moments like this.
Yeah.
It's built to survive knuckleheads like this one.
Well, you have to have a lot of occurrences for something to average out.
You do.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're in a situation right now where, well, again, we were already talking about it, but we're in a situation right now where all those occurrences seem fairly clear. I mean, the whole Occam's razor thing.
It really does.
And yet again, people, I think there's that combination of, it hasn't worked enough in my favor to just turning a blind eye.
Right.
And I just don't say anything anymore, at least in regards to my friends, the people I'm close to, and how I feel about politics, because I'm tired of politics.
No, everyone is weary. We are all fatigued from what's going on, but I tend to look at the end of the story. We'll be okay. The pendulum has swung. I mean, you talk about the whole sexual harassment climate that we're living in these days, where every day there's another face on Mount Gropemore. And I was telling my partner Nate the other day, I said, we should start a Mount Gropemore. Whose face is up on Mount Gropemore? Today we're going to chisel Dustin Hoffman's face into Mount Gropemore because 3 more women came out.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And where would you put Mount Gropemore? On the Grand Tetons. Seems only appropriate. But that's a pendulum.
That's great. It's actually more of an Appalachian thing because they're rounded. They're more round. They're not. They're a little
I like
sharp.
just the symbolic of the Tetons.
Yeah. No, I get
teats.
it. I get it.
But this is just a pendulum swing. The I'm not saying it's not earned or deserved or just the extreme of sexual harassment. The Me Too movement.
It's the current trend.
Well, no, it's the swinging.
I mean,
pendulum.
it's the reality.
It's the swinging pendulum.
It's the way it should be too.
It is, and
we gotta get it square.
I fully agree with that.
Yeah.
As a father of daughters, I am a full believer that this has been long overdue, and it's justified in getting here.
Yep.
But it's swinging so far, so extreme.
Yeah.
And
it's everybody.
You name a guy who didn't do something stupid.
Yeah.
And something stupid. I don't mean to diminish assaulters. I've been a cad in my life. I've never been an assaulter or assailant.
This is last week's talk.
We did. Yeah.
Let's get back to joy.
Yeah, joy. Well, that's what I'm saying. Is I have a firm confidence and optimism that we're all going to be okay in this.
So that's your joy.
No, it's the little things, man.
Yeah.
It's getting to sit here with you.
Oh.
It is. It's getting to debate somebody who I respect, who has a differing viewpoint of me and respects mine.
Yeah.
Being able to just sit here and chew the fat with you and debate points of conflict with you, or different points of view with you.
Right.
I'd love that, man. That fills me up. I am totally joyful of that. My wife is not a big holidays person. She's really not.
Really?
It's the stress of it. She puts in a ton of the work, at the holiday season, because I'm always working, and she's a stay-at-home mom and a homemaker. So she's the one who has to, buy, wrap, ship.
It's her job.
Yeah, that's her deal, getting the holidays moving forward. So it tends to wear on her.
Yeah.
And the Christmas tree makes her crazy, and the lights drive her nuts, and blah, 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 blah. But I can see in the last few days, she's she's getting into the idea of picking out something for the nieces or sending a package to our daughter in New York, even though it's going to suck that she won't be here.
Oh, she's not coming home.
Yeah, so
she's got to get another tattoo.
Yeah, wish I was home for Christmas tattoo.
Yeah,
that's what I'll say. Couldn't get time off work.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, she does live in the city that never sleeps.
Yeah, here, and she's new to what she does for the most part.
Yeah.
She's a bartender. Where she works, people who have been there a lot longer than her tend to get, as it always is, seniority, get the time off.
I'm assuming, too, that being a bartender, especially in New York, it's not like the bars close at 1:30.
No, it's not.
It's like 6 a.m.
Yeah, and 'tis the season, too.
Yeah.
People, in this time of year for her, Joy, is people fat tipping.
Yeah.
And
they do.
They do, absolutely. What brings you joy?
So I was going to say, this sounds so sad. I don't have much joy. I really don't.
I find that very hard to believe.
I have gratefulness.
Okay.
And that's not the same thing.
No.
I get it. I have gone through, as most listeners know, and my friends and my family, I've gone through a lot over the last few years, and especially, I shouldn't say especially this year, especially in previous years. In the last, since basically November of 2008, if I want to get down to really, really, I just had a moment in my life at that time that was so profound and so disappointing and so much a struggle with who my friends were and the economics of our life, etc. We got just clobbered, and this weird slow burn downward spiral that it's taken forever to recover from. And then when we finally sort of economically recover and we sort of recover with our, business and everything else that we're doing, then I just got sick, and that's been a slow burn too.
Yeah.
And I understand now that when doctors tell you have pneumonia, not only take them seriously, and I did, certainly. They give me medicine. And and I stayed in bed and all those things. But the recovery is extraordinarily long. And in my situation, for those that maybe missed it, I got a recurrence of pneumonia.
Yeah.
I didn't ever really actually recover.
No, you relapsed.
I relapsed, and worse. It was worse the second time.
Sure.
And then,
because your body was already compromised.
Right. It was like I had cancer.
Right.
To be honest. And then they gave me this drug, which I think I talked about last one. That is basically the chemotherapy drug for, people with pneumonia. In other words, they don't have another one.
Right.
This is the hardcore one. We give you this one as a last hope.
Really?
Yeah. I got the last hope drug, and this was about 6 weeks ago now.
It was like antibiotic napalm.
Basically, it's the kind of stuff. Seriously. That you read about that tells you online that do not take this drug. Like literally, it's one of those drugs that this can cause swelling, anal leakage, all that stuff. Yeah. This one supposedly breaks down your tendons to the point that if you walk, you can pull your Achilles. Yeah, it's that bad. And I will tell you that I was like, bull. You know what I mean?
I'm tough.
And then 2 days into the 7 days cycle, everything in me hurt. And I was like, oh my God, I'm killing myself taking this drug. And seriously, there was a moment where my daughter came up to me and jumped up in my arms, and I thought I was going to pull something because I was just like, I kind of forgot, I was just going to play with her, and my wife's like, put her down, you know what I mean? But then that went, I got off that medication, and supposedly I'm better in regards to that. I was told I don't have pneumonia anymore, and they don't need to see another lung scan. But 2 weeks ago, I got a cold, and that cold kicked my ass. It wasn't like a cold. It was like having the flu. You know what I mean? It was,
right.
And I'm still, as you can hear, I'm still recovering from the after effects of that cold. And I'm starting to wonder if I'm ever going to be healthy again. It's really scary. Yeah. And I never ever, I'm not saying you feel invincible, but until you have something that just goes on, this prolonged, chronic thing, you think you'll be fine, and so, the doctors told me you're not going to really feel okay until like April. And I'm like, April. It's
Yeah.
it's no in this at the time. This it's November, end of October. April.
Yeah.
And I guess it's because your immune system works so hard to battle pneumonia, and the whatever the occurrences that occur in your body at the time of pneumonia, that your immune system stays ramped up for a really long period of time, which burns tons of caloric energy. Now, you would think that would mean I would lose weight.
Right.
Clearly, that's not the case with my A-cup breasts.
Yeah.
However, I am tired all the time. I mean, I am tired. Like, I go home, you name it. After the market closes, I might go take a nap. And I'll sleep for like 4 hours.
Wow.
And wake up just, you know what I mean? And then 9 o'clock, I'm just falling asleep on the couch. It's awful. It's awful. So I will say that I struggle with joy right now.
Yeah.
I'm happy about some things. I've been begging. I'll use God here. I've wanted for a very long time to open up my own company, option trading, stock trading, etc. And I can't really talk about it here, but I can tell you this, that is open now. And so for this thing that I've wanted to do for a really long time, I'm actually doing now.
Okay.
And that's great. It's something I'm really good at, and I've wanted to do it for a really long time. So I'm grateful for that. Now, when you do deal in the stock market, you're dealing with ups and downs, and it's not a job until it goes down.
Right.
It's not a job, I should say, until your account balance goes down. Maybe it's a better way to put it. Then all of a sudden it becomes a job. And I get that, and I asked for it, right? Mm-hmm. Taking this thing says, okay, I'm prepared for this. I know it's coming. And when it comes, it's hard. And so again, I'm just in this weird place right now where I'm sort of physically challenged. I'm mentally challenged. I'm tired. I would just like a freaking break. The thing is I asked for it. I asked to be a stock trader. I asked to be a dad. I asked to be a husband. I asked to be a friend and a podcaster and a business leader and all these things. So I can't say, well, it's not fair. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to be a badass. And I'm a fucking badass. Yeah. So I'm grateful for being a badass. Uh-huh. I'm just really tired.
Fair enough.
So that's my answer. But I will say this in regards to joy. It's the thing that you can hear come from a mile away. When my wife or my kids, just when I have a moment to just settle and look at them, that gives me joy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That and those are the no-duh things.
Well,
there's no rocket science here.
No, you say you asked to be a dad. You asked for this.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that everybody finds joy in that.
Yeah.
Some people see parenthood as just the weight of the world type responsibility, and it is.
I used to see it that way.
We all do.
Yeah.
But that prohibits some people from looking at just watching your kid do homework.
Yeah.
Last night I'm walking down, turn the corner of my house, walk down the hallway toward the bedroom doors, that side of the house, and I can see my kid sitting at her desk in her room, pigtails, at her desk doing homework. And it's just like, man, just a moment came over, like, look at that. That's
And she's a self-starter. She's doing it on her own.
No, God, we yelled at her for hours.
Oh, really? Did you? Did you?
No, yeah. She was already working on it.
My daughter just goes up in her room and does stuff.
Well, she knows. She's a responsible kid. She knows.
Yeah.
And but yeah, we always got to chase her around the house to do homework. Of course we do. Sure. She's a teenage. She's 14. But just that moment where she was, taking care of business and in there at her desk, knocking out the geometry, knowing her theorems and. Cranking out the stuff. A year ago, she hated math. Now she's got a math teacher that she likes, and it's coming fast for her. It's cool. Wow. I see. I'm like, yay. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, I hate meth.
Meth.
Actually, isn't it funny? So I will tell you the truth about math. Okay, MATH is I hated math, like your daughter. I hated math, mostly because there wasn't art to math. It's an answer.
Sure.
Right?
It's rote memorization.
It is rote memorization.
Yep.
And it is
clinical.
You do it. Yeah, exactly. It's clinical and there is an answer for it. And granted, I get it. There's theorems and all that other stuff. But the reality is math, right? 1 + 1 is 2.
Right.
Right. And I didn't enjoy that. I didn't enjoy the memorization aspect of it.
Right.
And I certainly didn't enjoy the fact that there was times seriously where I didn't, like the order of, I don't even know what the term is, but when they say first you do multiplication, then you do division, then you do subtraction,
right.
At least in regards to algebra, that was always just frustrating for me because I could never remember the order. And
that's like the latest thing on Facebook now. Solve this problem.
I know. I know. I'm like, shut up.
God.
Just shut up. It doesn't matter.
Right. You're so you know the answer, right?
Exactly.
Well, you've made it to the 7th grade. Done.
Yeah. And the thing is okay, it doesn't matter. But the funny thing is I live in a world that it's math all the frickin' time.
Well, yeah.
But yet, it's the math I like.
No, I get it. I get it.
Did you like social studies or history when you were?
Loved it.
See, I hated it.
I loved it.
And now I'd love it.
Yeah.
Like that is the best toilet reading in the world.
Yeah.
Like I want a history book on the back of my toilet.
A 10th grade history book.
Exactly. Nothing really difficult.
Nothing deep. Some
big words.
Right. Peripheral. Because I recapped the end of the chapter. You bet.
Yeah. Size 20 font.
You bet. Yeah. You bet. Now, see, I grew up on the East Coast in the cradle of democracy and, in the birthplace of our nation. And we talked about this in the past many times too. I was raised around historical places and historical things and monuments. And, I tended bar at a building that was 400 years old.
Oh, see, I would love that.
I mean, I tended bar at a place, not 400 years, I'm jerking, 300 years old.
Really?
Literally. This place has been a bar since like 1732 was a bar. These buildings and these cobblestone streets were laid. And at the turn of the century of the 18th century, 17 nothing.
Right.
This place was a building. I used to tend bar there. Going down the basement was just like, you better have a flaming torch when you go down the basement of this place, I love that kind of stuff. I totally do.
That's good.
That's what drives me nuts about the West Coast. It's all so new.
Yeah.
This city's 100 years old, right?
Yeah.
Whatever state.
We're like, look how old it is. The dust has dust on it.
Right.
In New York.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you go to, there's like old buildings in New York that are literally from 100 years ago, and it's like, they're gorgeous.
Yeah.
And they don't build anything worth a crap anymore.
Yeah.
They just don't. We played a theater last week, the Temple Theater in Tacoma.
I've never been there.
So it was built in 1926, and it looks every inch of it. It is big and old and massive when they could build huge things to last. The ornate trim work on this building is just like art.
Yeah.
And it's gorgeous.
Nirvana played a couple of big shows there back
Temple?
in the day.
Yeah. I met George Carlin in that building.
Really?
Yeah, back 20 years ago, was it, I guess?
Oh, that was the show that Craig was talking about.
Yeah. And I mean, I love that. I saw Blue Oyster Cult play there in the bowels of that place at a lower banquet hall there. It's just the weirdest.
When they were at the top of their game.
Yeah. No, I saw them in stadiums at the top of their game. When they're playing
Fire of Unknown.
Yeah,
82.
Yeah.
When they played with Foreigner and was it Billy Squire?
I don't know. Here, I was back east.
Oh,
Yeah. I saw them Spectres and 78. That kind of stuff. And,
oh man.
Yeah, good stuff.
So joy. I don't know what else to say about joy.
It's what It's everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess joy's like optimism.
Yeah.
You got to make a decision to be joyful.
Yeah, you do.
You got to make a decision, and if you decide, I mean, that's a BS comment. I guess you have to be willing to see joy and feel joy. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I could look at my kid doing homework and be like, oh, thank God I don't have to beat her up to do her homework.
Right.
But I don't see it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
guess you have to be willing to see it's right in front of your face. Take the time and open up yourself to being willing to just appreciate the little things in life.
Yeah, I think that is the challenge. It certainly is for me. I won't blame any of my. I don't know.
You're fatigued, dude. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I look at you and you're a joyful guy.
Oh yeah,
I know you are. You don't feel joy right now, and I get it because you're clearly
tired.
You're fatigued.
Yeah.
It's been a long year for you.
Yeah.
and you're sick.
Yeah.
You've been sick a long time.
Yeah.
And you started something new, and that's not easy to do.
Yeah, and I want to win.
Yeah,
you know,
well, sure you do.
I mean, who doesn't want to win? I mean, no duh. And it's
I'm
not
sick
like,
of all the winning.
Yeah.
To be completely honest with you, I'm just getting tired of the winning.
It's not like I deserve. That whole deserve's not got nothing to do with it, right?
Right,
There's no
no,
deserve.
here.
You know, and of course, the world of Facebook, all your friends seem to be winning when you're not. Right?
Well, yeah.
I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying that everybody shows.
All my friends seem to be bitching.
Nobody ever shows the crap that's going on in their life. They
Right.
show the good that's going on in their life.
I don't know. I got to get a better Facebook feed because all my Facebook feed
look
is
at me in
misery.
Hawaii,
My Facebook feed's misery gulch, man.
Yeah. Well, they're all liberals.
It's funny. Okay. No, the conservatives are the ones that are whining.
No, I'm saying the liberals are all pissed off
All pissed
because
off.
everybody else is lying. You know?
No, I think it's funny. I see it the other way. I see conservatives as just, I can't believe. Yeah, we got to go down that rabbit hole again. It's fun. So it's funny. Somebody posted a thing from Hawaii, and maybe it's the same guy you were looking at. This guy posts one picture of these people playing volleyball, and I text in, dude, is that Kona? He's like, how do you know that? It's like, dude, that's the Old Town Kona. I know exactly where that volleyball court is.
Nice.
It's like, wow. I was like, try the Poke Shack.
Oh,
5 minutes down the street from where you are.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah.
I know, right? He just got home too. Welcome home, Tony. Right? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It's a small world after all.
So the Poke. Everybody talks about the Poke Shack. See, I've never been to Hawaii.
You got a Kona. It's on Kona, Big Island.
Yeah, I've never been to Hawaii. I have some friends that are currently in Japan, and of course they're rubbing it in too. Because I would like to. It's been a long time since
you need someplace warm and sunny. As I listen to you, be tired and stressed. And you're not going to get better till April.
Yeah. I'm told not to even work out. Like, don't go work out.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm like, what?
You need some sun. You need some salt water.
Yeah,
I guarantee a week in the ocean in Hawaii, you'd be yourself again.
You think?
I'm telling you.
I don't
Salt
know.
water cures everything.
I don't know if I can. Here's the thing, though. My brain doesn't know how to shut down.
Off. You can trade from a lounge chair.
I could, but then
under
I'd be
a palm tree,
stressed out the whole
then
time.
You just go body surf.
I just get fatter.
If your trade is down, go body surf.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Go look at some fish. Go meet a sea turtle.
when you're managing a significant amount of money and you're down 1%, that's a lot of money.
It is a lot. I hear you. No, it's. I know it's something you wanted to do, and it's you asked for this.
Yes.
I couldn't do it.
No,
I couldn't do it, man. It's too out of my control.
Yeah.
It's too subject to other influences, and I mean that's the trick.
Yeah.
For you to know how to read the tea leaves and see the trends and make not an educated guess, make an educated decision.
It's percentages.
Yeah. Well, you make an educated decision on what if this happens, then it's all math.
Yes, it is.
If this happens, then that happens.
Yeah.
It's theorems. If this, then that.
And that's exactly what's going on. The best way I can equate it is imagine this. You see an opportunity, and you're like, okay, based on percentages, history, and all these other things that's going on, news and whatnot,
right?
This trade should achieve X, and it has a 78% chance of winning.
Right. So you play the number.
Who isn't going to take that?
Sure.
Right?
Right.
It's just like poker. Now, here's the thing. People think working in the market is like gambling, and that's not true at all. It's percentages. However, here's how it's like gambling. When you have pocket aces, right? The best hand you can have in poker, and you're sitting pre-flop, okay? You got a 78% chance of winning the hand.
Right.
But if you go to the river, you have a 31% chance of going.
Some spud's got a flush.
And when the market
pulls another club out of his ass, and there's a flush.
All of a sudden, your quote unquote your opponent has three of a kind. You're kind of into a bad spot.
Yeah.
And then your choice is really only to either take the hit and get out, or to ride it all the way to the end and hope you win.
Right. Or keep digging.
Or get crushed.
Right.
Those are your chances. Because here's where the market is beautiful. You can roll out of that position. You can push out into next month. And I know this is all Latin, but the thing is I can get out of these positions and move forward. I have to pay the commissions to get out, and I can do it. And I hope it works in my favor next month.
Okay.
Okay, because it's an options market trade.
Okay.
The thing is it could crush me even further. So there is that weird dynamic of sometimes, I mean, and that's the reality. Sometimes you're just wrong.
Right.
And when you're wrong, you tend to be really wrong.
Yeah.
And that hurts. But you have to go back, because if you don't go back, you don't get the averages.
Right.
Right? If you go into one thing one time and it has an 80% chance of winning, well, unless you do it a whole bunch of times, you're not going to win 80% of the time.
Nope.
If you do it once, you got a 50-50. You're the winner, you lose.
Right.
So you got to go back.
Right.
Going back is really hard,
That's
but that's what makes me me.
That's what's asked for.
And
you wanted that.
Exactly.
Right.
And what you said, I don't want to do that crap.
Right. No.
And I don't blame you. But I will say this, though. If I had $20 million, I probably wouldn't do it either. I would probably let somebody else do it.
For you. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stress.
So any final thoughts here on the way out of the door? So a couple things our listeners, it doesn't really matter to them because it'll sound the same somewhere else. We are leaving buildings here.
Yeah.
So next time we get together, we'll be actually post-Christmas.
Yeah.
And we can talk about it, I guess. But
Sure.
we've already talked about it a bit. Entercom has exercised its option,
Right.
to move you to iHeartRadio.
Right. They spun off the station I work for. Now, in its entirety, will be owned by a different broadcast group.
Yeah.
Will be brought for a group I used to work for.
Yeah.
For a group that is kind of it's a totally different vibe.
Your best
than
friends are waiting
CBS.
for you too.
Had that moment already. I'll tell you all about that someday.
Not on the podcast.
No, not at all.
Sorry, guys.
No. Empty class, I call it.
Yeah.
I tell you that before? Empty class?
Can't wait.
I can give you the concept real quick. That's be my final thought. Empty class.
Empty class.
It's the ability to take the higher ground and deal with the situation with class and be completely dead and behind the eyes. Empty. Just empty. Wow. Say the polite thing, cordial. Doesn't mean a thing to me.
Wow.
Empty class.
Thus endeth the lesson.